my brethren, we still repeat the words of the centurion to this day, Domine non sum dignus. And if said with devotion, gazing at the Blessed Sacrament, we can truly pray that that be a moment of forgiveness of any remaining sins that might be there before we receive our King. Delicacy. In the old rite, still accompanied by that gesture. But I want to zoom into the first reading today because it contains one element that concerns us all. If it is possible, says the Apostle, whose feast it was yesterday, his conversion, as far as it depends on you, be at peace with all men. Now, imagine an encounter with a situation which is essentially an encounter with a problem. You have a choice. You have a problem before you which you have not invented. You can go into head-on collision with it, with all the consequences that that involves, especially in the loss of peace, interior and exterior, or you can learn the art of circumnavigating another person's problem without making it your own. Many people go through life, as it were, becoming experts in creating a problem, usually by making of an issue a big issue, for the defense of which this other bit, peace, goes through the window. Don't go there. The Gospel does warn us that to go through life missing the benefits of the chosen people, those who were graced from the beginning by their call, is to end up in a place of weeping and gnashing of teeth, outer darkness, which is only a prolongation of the other. The unpeacefulness in this world becomes cosmic, and bad company will reign forever. No one wants to go there, but few people calculate the risk. I would propose to you a mode of living which goes something like this. This is the big issue, getting safe and sound onto the other side, so all else is relative. I am going to live this day, which in practice is the only day that ever will be, in a mode which keeps an eye on that, in such a way that this day is lived in function of that. That trick works. It brings things down a bit. I'd like to quote to you 4 encounters with that moment, very different from each other, to indicate how actually little things make a difference, even before that. 1, it's the power of a word, the moment of death, as was heard in the Great War. I heard it from some veterans of the First World War some years ago, before they all died out. It was in Welsh. There were a lot of Welshmen in the trenches, and this happened, which few knew about. The officer had been briefing the young soldiers about how to use the bayonet, because he knew that when they came to the body-to-body, eye-to-eye, face-to-face encounter, the risk was that they wouldn't have the courage. And he warned them not to have mercy, and he reminded them he is your enemy. And one young Welshman, probably the fruit of the Welsh revival that just happened before the war, dared at the age of 22 to challenge the authority of the officer by saying simply this: how can he be my enemy when I never even saw his face? The officer called him out immediately, put him against the wheel of a cannon and shot him. Officially, of course, he died in action, but we know what happened. He was, by one word, a martyr of charity. Later in time, around 1936, in the Spanish Civil War, there was a huge persecution going on, and things were happening against Christians. Spain could have gone the other way. Eventually, a Catholic, young enough, was put against the wall with a pistol, inviting him to deny his faith. And he had a moment of weakness, and he yielded. And satanically, they said, now we know where you're going, so we'll send you there eventually. And before he had time to reflect, they shot him, with that word of denial echoing forevermore. Only a word. Now, I hope he's not lost. We don't know. But he could have had another eternity as a martyr. Only a word. Closest to us in time, actually not closer in time, it's around the beginning of the 1900s. It was a case in London. There was a good minister, the Reverend Henry Drummond, who cared for souls, had a zeal for souls, even the most lost, apparently. He wouldn't give up on them. He'd search them out wherever they were. He found one who was a black sheep, as they said in those days. And he tried to calm him down before he petered out, somewhere in the slums of London. And he managed to bring him down to some kind of reasoning, because presumably he'd ruined his life with alcohol and all the rest. And he said to him, my brother, notice, my brother, the Lord Jesus died for you. Will you give your life to him? And all eternity was there at that point in suspense. A word would be heard forevermore. And you know what the word was? No! I won't give the dog end of my life to my God. And with that, he petered out with a word. Only a word, echoing until the end of time, which will never end. Now, close to us in time, very close in time, actually, it just happened the other month. Somebody who used to sit just there, Jimmy. Quite a few of you will remember Jimmy, and quite often he'd come with his wife Anne and daughter Catherine. They farm up in County Cavan, North Cavan. Long way. I've known Jimmy since I was a novice. Now, he was always ready to go. As it happens, a few weeks ago, he'd gone to confession, because he'd go very, very frequently, and he was coming back from Holy Mass, Saturday evening. I had just by chance, not long before then, anointed him. Not because he had any visible danger of dying, but because I would tend to do so anyway, because he wasn't in the best of health. There was no sign of anything else. And that night, Anne came down and found him stone dead at the door of the farmhouse. Obviously, his heart had just stopped. Now, things aren't just accidents. Heaven is concerned. I went back, actually, just on Thursday night, notice, Thursday night of this week, to that farmhouse, because they're dear friends of mine. We prayed together. I gave them sacraments, and we used the blessed chalk to claim the house for Jesus Christ, Lord of time, Christus mansionem benedicat, and the year. And we claimed the protection of the precious blood over that house, and we sealed it, front and back, and in the process all the animals and all the farmhouse itself. I left, went home, and you know what happened on the night between Thursday and Friday of this week. Catherine, the daughter, didn't get a wink of sleep. She was sleeping in the bedroom, which is towered over by massive trees, leaning towards the house, exposed to all the elements, huge and ready to fall right on her room, and also on all the farm equipment in the shed outside. Would you sleep with big trees going backwards and forwards over your bedroom window? She woke up. I went back yesterday because I couldn't get out on the Friday. Trees everywhere. And I came into the garden, the actual yard, the house essentially. First of all, I saw the yard of the animals. 2 roof complexes disappeared. And I came into the house just outside, and I saw, and I said to myself, miracle! You know what happened? 3 huge trees, all linked with each other, had done something humanly inexplicable. They were obviously going and about to and starting to fall on the house precisely, and some mysterious hand had steered them to the only safe place where they could fall without doing any damage, and they lay perfectly in their full length, all the roots removed, in the safe place, the only safe place that was, to the inch. And then the animals. We went to the animals. We sang as we came, and they were calm. The only building untouched on the farm, undamaged, was where the animals were. A little bit puzzled, but quite happy to see us. Only a coincidence, of course. My friends, Jimmy believed in God, and God believed in Jimmy. Take Jesus seriously. Poking fun at the Alpha and the Omega is a very dangerous business.